Hi, I'm Mark Drury, President of Mad Calls. I want to thank you for your purchase of the Call Maker. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to show you exactly how to custom tailor each and every call that you ever use. This is a whole new idea in the call making industry. About 3 years ago, I started making my own calls for competition and for hunting. And I found out that by giving each call attention, I could make every call sound exactly like the previous one. And I thought whenever I came out with MAD this year in 1994, that why not build a call or a tool to make calls so that every hunter could build their own calls, because I was tired of buying calls that didn't sound right. It'd take me 5 or 6 calls before I found one that really ran good for me. Well, why not build them yourself so that you can customize each one to your needs? That's what we're going to show you in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Let's go to it and start building some custom tailored mouth calls. My original intent whenever we came up with the Call Maker was to put in a written set of instructions with each one that went out. I then decided to go ahead and produce a video so that you could not only hear what was going on, but you could also see the process as each call was being built. And I think that this tool will help you a lot more. There you see the video that comes with each and every Call Maker. 10 pieces of Johnson & Johnson tape, 10 aluminum frames, and of course 40 pieces of latex along with a little call holder there. There's the actual call builder, and in a little bit here I'm going to show you all the different components within the Call Maker and what their uses will be throughout this process. Some other things that will be helpful to you: number one, you have to have some type of Scotch tape, some type of a punch, which is an option, and also a small, very sharp scissors will help in this process as well. That little scissors, I get them at any hardware store for about 98 cents. I like a tape dispenser rather than the little rolls of Scotch tape, and any punch will work. Anything from an ice pick all the way down to a small little nail. I prefer the little awl. There's the little nail. I think it's about a 2-penny nail. The little awl, and of course a screwdriver will also work. That's a small, very small Phillips screwdriver. And as I said before, the ice pick. Any of those little projectiles will work to help crimp that frame. Now let's go over the individual parts on the Call Maker. First, you have a slot where the frame will slide and it holds that frame in place. That's the first part of it. Then you're going to see a line to the right, which is where we start or end all of our tension, I should say, and 5 different options to start tension. I prefer the second line from the left whenever I'm stretching a call. 2 other little parts that I need to mention here about the Call Maker are the 2 little hash marks that you see down in the frame slot. First step, let's take a piece of latex, put it down on, I like the second line from the left. It gives me a nice, even, medium tension, and I grab about 1/8 of an inch of that latex with the tape. I run my finger across it 2 or 3 times to hold that latex in place. Notice here I've lined the front of the latex up with the front of the Call Maker. Now I'm going to come over and get another piece of tape, and I'm going to put it down on the other side, and again grabbing roughly 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to stretch it to my stretch mark, which is that line on the right side of the Call Maker, and hold it in place. And once again, I'll show you that it should end up even with the front of the Call Maker. Now you're going to see a bow that has developed in the latex. Don't worry about that. Everything is gauged out. Eventually, it's going to work out right so that it exactly fits the frame once we put back tension in, which, by the way, is the next step in the process. Grab a piece of tape, curl over one end so that later on we can grab that tape and peel it back up, and then come in and place it at the back end of the frame pocket and grab roughly 1/4 inch of the latex, and then very firmly put that down with your fingers so that it holds, and just leave it sit there. Grab another piece of latex, and it's time to put the second reed on the call. This will be I think we're going to build a 4-reeded call. This will be reed number 2. and you get you another piece of tape, and you start over at the same line that you put your first latex down. And again, grab 1/8 of an inch, rub it with your finger, and there you can see the spacing. And spacing is determined at the corner over there, not in the middle of the call. If you want roughly a 1/16 of an inch spacing on your reed, you put it in over at that corner. Don't pay attention to the middle right now. Once we stretch to the right side, that spacing will get uniform all the way across the call, as you'll see here once I lay the other side down. And again, I grabbed 1/8 of an inch, and I firmed it up with my finger. And there you see how that latex stretches and gives a little bit of a curvature, and then your spacing is very consistent all the way across, which is one of the biggest advantages to building calls yourself. You can 100% control the spacing on the side of the call, anywhere from a 32nd of an inch all the way up to a quarter, or whatever you prefer for spacing. I personally prefer a 1/16 of an inch. And you'll see me do it again here. Now here's something, I just forgot back tension. Don't forget it, it's easy to do. We're not going to pull back tension yet, but you've got to put that tape in there. Later on, we're going to pull them all at once and pull the back tension consistently. Now I'm going to put reed number 3 in. Same line on the left. Grab a piece of tape, roughly 1/8 of an inch on the latex. Run your finger across it, hold that down. Whoop. Here I'm going to grab the other side. Roughly had 1/8 of an inch there again. Run my finger across it pretty vigorously so that it holds it. Pick the tape up and stretch it to the right. And there you can see once again that perfect 1/16 of an inch spacing. Really gives you a nice sounding call. Again, put your latex, your back tension tape down. See that spacing? That's what you want within your call. And that is determined, again, on the sides rather than in the middle. Don't look at the middle. Just put your spacing down on the left, pull the tape over to the right, and your spacing will come uniform all the way across. Good spacing is the key to a good sounding call. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a half reed on there for a 3.5 reed call. You could stop right there at a triple reed, but I personally like a 3.5 reed call, or you could go with a straight 4 reed call. But I set this reed spacing back just a little bit further than I did on the first 3, and it'll end up giving you a 3.5 reeded call. That little half reed gives a lot of good backbone to your calling. And generally on this, I put about 1/4 of an inch of spacing rather than a 1/16 of an inch. And you'll see it here once I move my hand and get it out of the way. I'll come over and again, 1/8 of an inch, run your finger across the tape so that it holds the latex, stretch to your right stretch mark, run it down firmly so that it holds, and then you'll be able to see the spacing that I have put here. First I'm going to put my back tension piece of tape down, and there you see that half reed. Again, it's roughly 1/4 of an inch versus a 1/16. Reed number 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th reed. Now you could run a straight 4 if you wanted and bring that reed all the way up and give it a 1/16 of an inch. It's up to you. That's one of the fun things about the call maker. You can experiment. You can try a 4 reeded call with no spacing. You can try more tension. You can try less tension. But one thing's for sure, you ought to be able to find something that works for you. Now I'm going to pull back tension. And to do this, I grab the first piece of tape that we laid down, the bottom one, in other words, as you're looking at it. I grab it, peel it up, and then I'm going to uniformly bring all of the reeds back at once. And that way you don't lose any of your tension. And you'll see me doing that right here. I grab the bottom piece of tape, not the top 3, but the bottom one, and I pull it backwards. My mark are those 2 little hash marks on the front end of the frame holder. Whenever the reeds get right even with those marks, and you can see it right here, I've went right to the hash marks, maybe a little bit beyond, right there. Then when the frame slides in, it will perfectly match the front corner of the frame, and that's very important. And you see your tension and your spacing stayed consistent with that back tension, but you only pull the bottom piece of tape and right to the corner of those hash marks. Back tension is very important within the call building process, by the way. Good, firm back tension will be one of the reasons that your call will run good or not run good. Next step is to bend the frame at a 90. And I just put it on the side there, and you'll see it's got a couple hash marks in it. You bend it up, and it should bend perfectly every time. There is an adhesive strip on the back of the frame so that it helps hold the latex in place. You have to peel away this little backing tape to expose that adhesive. You just grab it down in the corner with something sharp, like a little awl or something, and then you'll feel that little glue part on the back of the frame. Next step is to take it tab down and slide it under the latex. I just pick the latex up, slide it in that pocket. You'll feel that pocket grab it and guide it all the way to the back, and then it should come to a definite stop back there. Once you have the frame in place, you can see that the latex cuts right at the corners of the frame. That's why those hash marks are placed there, so that you can pull back tension and you know how much back tension to give it and still be at the front end of the call once it's built. Then just lightly bend the frame over like that. And now take the call maker, close it, and I give it about 4 or 5 good hits. And that's going to flatten that frame out for you. There you can see it flatten it real well. Now you can stop right there, or you can go in and do what I call crimping the frame. First I'm going to show you here the spacing and everything, what the call should look like at this process. A good flat frame with good even spacing. That's what you should look like right now. The next part, as I said, it's an option, but I like to crimp the frame so that I know I'm holding that tension that we've set both side to side and backwards inside the frame. And I do this with the little punch thing that I was telling you about. I like this little awl, and I go around and I'll about every 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, I give a little tap, and it dents that frame. It doesn't take much pressure. The frame is a very light gauged aluminum. In total, you'll probably end up with about 9 different crimp places, and that's going to ensure that the tension is held between the frame. There you can see what it's going to look like after you've crimped it. You'll also see that it wrinkles the frame a little bit. Don't worry about it. Now we're going to close the call maker again and wrap it 3 or 4 more times, and it flattens that soft aluminum right back out. That's the beauty of the call maker right there, keeping that frame nice and flat. Now you've got your tension locked in place. Guaranteed it's not going to slip. Those crimps will hold that tension right there. At this point, it's time to take the tape up, because your tension, it's locked in. You can loosen it, and yet the frame will hold the tension that you've gauged in it. Just take all of your tape up on the 2 sides, and then pull your back tension tape up. And at this point, it's time to get rid of your excess waste, the tape and the excess latex. I always just tape it to the corner of a desk or a table. Just tape it down real firmly, and then put a slight amount of tension on it. You see me pulling it there? I grab a scissors, putting a little tension, and clip right down along the edge of the frame, and it will make a perfect cut for you when you do that. It trims it very close to the frame that way. Flip it over. Take that side down, pull it with just a little bit of tension, clip down along the frame on that edge, and you see it's cleaning the call up very nicely. Then I put the back tension tape, hold it down, I pull out and down a little bit, clip very close to the back edge of the frame, and there you can see the call cleans perfectly that way. Just a light amount of pressure. Now it's time to bend the tab up. Again, just stick it in the call maker, and with a little finger pressure, not much, it'll bend up at a 90. Like that. Take it out, and then with finger pressure you can finish bending it over, as you see I'm doing right there. Now I put it on the corner of the call maker, and with just a few taps, you see I'm doing it with my knuckle. It doesn't take much to finish setting the call. Now the call is built, and we're ready to tape it. Grab one of the pieces of tape, punch out the middle. It's all die cut, so it comes out fairly easily. This, by the way, is Johnson & Johnson medical tape. It's a very safe tape. It's a very good tape that forms to your palate very easily. And again, it has an adhesive backing, so you have to peel the backing tape off of it. Then come in and very carefully place that on the aluminum frame. And this is one of the harder parts. You have to be careful about getting it lined up, and if it doesn't line up just right, take it off and try again. But make sure it lines up real nice right with the edge of the frame there. You can see what it should look like. Then flip it over. And careful here now that you don't wrinkle your tape up. Start up at the front corners, like that. Press them out both ways. Then turn the caul, and with your finger, just slide it towards the back. And that will pretty much give you a wrinkle-free caul. Good looking caul. Now that you've completed the actual caul building process, you stretched your reeds from side to side, your side tension in other words. Then you put your tape down for back tension. Once you had all your reeds in place, be it a double, a triple, or a 4-reeded caul, you took those back tension pieces of tape, grabbing the bottom one, and pulled them all simultaneously back to the hash marks, which puts back tension in that caul. Then we bent our frame, put our frame in place, bent the frame over, crimped it once, hammered it down, and then we came in and added the extra little crimps to ensure that that tension would be long lasting. Then once again we pounded that frame down so that it was solid. Then we just got done taping the caul. Now it's time to cut the tape. And myself personally, I like to just cut it the way that I prefer for my mouth. Some people like a lot of tape, some people don't like very much. It depends if you gag easily or not. So for me, I like just to come in and snip the corners like so, and I snip the other corner, and then I pretty much just follow the contour of the frame with the scissors. And end up with a medium-sized mouth caul. Trim up a little bit of extra if you missed it a little bit, like that. Now I'm going to cut it with one of my favorite cuts. This is what I call the Mad Cutter, and we're going to show you how to cut all the individual cuts here in a second, but I'm going to cut this one first and see what kind of a job we did by building it. If I can get my scissors in there. Get it a little wet here first. Put it in, see if it runs. That right there, the sounds that I'm getting out of that caul is the reason that I came out with the caul maker. Nearly every caul that you're going to build is going to sound exactly the same as the one that you built before. Now let's take a look at individual cuts and how to customize your caul. The first cut that I'm going to show you is an inverted V caul. I start at the middle of the latex, cutting only the top reed. Remember, only cut the top reed. I put an angle cut towards the back, going one way, then I turn and cut towards the other way, and roughly cut 1/4 inch deep on both of them. That's what we call an inverted V. Within the Mad Cauls line, that's an MVP caul. I like to do this on a triple or a 3.5 reeded type caul. Another caul that I'm going to show you, a very popular caul, is commonly known as a double split reed. Within the Mad Caul line, we call it the Extreme. Again, I'm only grabbing that top reed. I cut about 1/8 inch back on each corner. Real good little caul. I like it best on triple reeded cauls or double reeded cauls. Very functional and easy to blow caul. good for the beginner to start out on. Now I'm going to show you how to do a cutter type call. Again, grab only the top reed, go to the very corner of the call, and cut in about 1/4 of an inch roughly. Right there. Then grab that little corner of the latex that it left. Sometimes it's hard to grab. You have to try it 2 or 3 times. Just grab the corner and pull. There you see I'm not quite getting hold of it good enough. Grab it, pull it out, and then cut back to the end of the first cut, just like that. And it makes a perfect half moon. That's one little secret in call building. Pulling it out will create that little half moon. Then you can come in and add another cut to the back corner, which I call the mad cutter, and it's roughly 1/4 of an inch. Gives you more rasp in the call. And if you want even more rasp than that, add another little cut going the other way, and that's what we call the poison call. That's a call that I developed this year, and excellent high balling, nice raspy yelp. Yeah, I like that poison call. That's the cutter call with the 2 little hash marks in it. The double split reed, or a triple split reed, with the cuts down the corner, is a great high-pitched, high ball and yelp. It's a good for keying call, that type of stuff too. And then probably the most popular call on the market today is that first call that I cut, the inverted V call, what we call the MVP in the mad call line. Just your 2 little hash marks going backwards. Once you've built or used all of the supplies with your that comes with your call maker, you had enough calls to do 10 frames, 10 pieces of tape, and 40 pieces of latex. So that's 10 4-reeded calls. Once you've used those up, there are refills available for the call maker. One refill that we have is the 6-pack, 6 calls for around $10. Excellent price, and it comes with 6 pieces of tape, enough latex for 6 4-reeded calls, and 6 frames. The 12-pack is our other refill pack, and it has 48 pieces of latex, 12 frames, 12 pieces of tape, and it's around $17.50, $18, somewhere in there. So you can see the affordability of owning a call maker. We also have a 50-pack refill available. Now to get those, they come in bulk only, and it's for the serious call builder. If you need a 50-pack, call the number on the screen at the end of this presentation, and you can get it right here from Mad Calls in Columbia, Missouri, the 50-pack or any accessories or any of our calls in our entire line. So we thank you once again for purchasing a call maker. Please give us a call if at any time you have trouble understanding the video that you just witnessed. One good point is you might go back and watch it again and try and look at it even closer. So give us a call or write us, and we'll send you a free color catalog for any of our products. Thank you again.